What I have here is the SuperSkip RR and the SuperSkipper. These are the final CAD files that went to the mold maker. And I just want to go over a few more details on how these two boats compare, how they're supposed to be used together sort of as a unit compared to the original video that I did. So the base boat, if you like, is the SuperSkipper. And the concept behind this boat was something that was really going to move up and over everything on the way down the river. So the idea is it's a high and dry ride. It literally skips over everything. It skips over holes, it skips out from the bottom of the drops. And there's a lot of things that come together that make that happen. One of which, of course, is the obvious rocker in the boat, and it has a high rocker. But it's not just how much rocker it has, it's the shape of the rocker. Now you can see that the rocker here in the back of the boat, you got the little flat section right under the seat, and then right behind the seat it bends and it's a straight line to the tail. And as I described earlier in another video, the idea of this here is that when you come off a drop and you land, it then sits on this plane, and because it's not a curve, it can't continue to do this. It just shoots out forwards like this. And so you get that effect of the nose coming up, and then it just accelerates forward, out and away. You'll also notice that the shape of the deck rocker matches the shape of the hull rocker, and that allows the boat to pencil in almost at 80 degrees, and then those two work in conjunction with each other, and it peels the boat forward like this. You then end up on that flat section, and it shoots out and moves away from the drop. These little ridges over here, along with this little pocket over here, helps the boat also at the initial point of contact and helps just start that movement. Just it kind of stalls it for a second, this and this over here, and it blocks it, and then the whole thing starts to go. The volume on the ends of the boat is reduced quite significantly compared to a lot of creek boats out there, and that stops it being bashed around by currents and water and things like that. But it also means that if you get stuck in a hole, it's easier to get out. So you've got a little bit, less volume in the ends of the boat that allows you to stuff it into waves and holes, but there's sufficient volume around the center of the boat. The hull of the boat is a slight curve. It's not completely flat. It's not like a planing boat or standard river surfing with the focus is on playing. It's slightly curved to a slightly radiused edge over here, a double step to a slightly radiused edge. So it's still a rail, but it's slightly radiused. And then it has a really tucked sidewall. And the sidewall is tucked in like this. So when you're going down stuff, if you hit things, it wants to jump up and over and not just slam and flip you over. So that's why we have these tucked sidewalls, especially in the nose of the boat. It's a little less tucked on the tail of the boat, so you have more release and better release coming off the edge. So it will slide forward and fly forward out of the bottom of the drop. It has a wheel recess over here, right behind the cockpit, so that you can then portage with the handles turned sideways on both ends. Full-size handles right in front of the cockpit, right behind the cockpit, with a paddle holder over there, so that when you're getting in the boat, you don't have to paddle in your mouth like this. You just put your paddle across there, it rests up against the grab loop in that recess, and you can put your skirt on and off you go. So this is the SuperSkipper. Now we get to the SuperSkip RR, and it's very close in the design of the boat, all the way through it, and the whole design. The shape of this concave and these flares over here, almost identical to the curve of the hull of the boat and the tucked rails, with the radius rails over here. Still has the wheel recess. And the rocker profile, it's a fractionally less rocker, but it's the exact same shape. It's the same rocker shape, same thing with the volume through the bow of the boat, and the deck rocker and the hull rocker all matching. The biggest difference between the SuperSkipper and the RR is that we've made a pivotable stern. Now, this is not your classic half slice. This is not designed to be going splatting every rock on the way down the river and squirting every eddy line. That's not what this is. Those are half slices. This is not a half slice. It will do some of the things that half slices do. It will paddle in some ways like a half slice, but it is not a half slice. I consider a half slice to be a playful boat, a river running play boat that you can creek with. This is a full-on creek boat that you can do some playful stuff on the river, But that's not why the stern is cut down like this. It's not to make it painful. It's to give you a level of control that you don't get from a fat boat. You can tap into currents below the surface of the water. You can turn the boat on the tail. So you can come off a drop, the nose comes up, you can then dip the tail, whip it around, set it down, and off you go. Quite a bit of volume right behind the seat over here. And that's what makes it not a great squirting boat. Like, it doesn't want to sit and squirt because of this volume, wants to eject it. Once you get it up, it's going to want to watermelon seed, sort of ship boop back, onto the hull of the boat so you can get moving again. You're not going to sit there and twirl this thing around unless you're 240 pounds or something like that, right? So the idea of this boat is you come off the drop, you dip your tail, it wants to dip onto this flat section. So immediately you come off the drop, the boat wants to then end up on this flat section here. It presents this to the water, and rather than really slicing this under the water, what's happening is you're able to turn it around on the back of the boat on this planing surface without there being any resistance on the deck from water trying to flow over the deck, hitting that volume and getting rejected. This boat here, for example, it'll still land on that back surface just like the RR will, but then when you go to whip it around, if there's any kind of flow or current or water here that's hitting this over here, it might want to stop the boat from just whipping around on this rear rocker section of the boat, and you might get some resistance and you might get a bit of a stall. So generally this boat here, you would stand it, you come off a drop, it does this, and then the boat would flatten out and you'd make your turn, right? And the point of the RR is that you don't flatten it out before you make the turn. You can make the turn a lot faster because even when you're still sitting on this rear section back here, like there, you can start to whip it around. The water flows over the deck, and it's not that you're trying to squirt it up. It's just you don't want no resistance during that turn. So you land, the boat does this, and then you can just whip it around, and there's no resistance on the back of the boat like that. And that's where the RR is going to make paddling faster, response time faster for paddlers who are accustomed to either paddling slalom style boats or who are accustomed to half slices. It's what they paddle all the time. They're used to whipping the boat around on the tail of the boat, but they want a full-on creek boat with creek boat rockers and creek boat volumes and creek boat rails so that your creaking day is safe, but they want to use that same skill set as you would use in a half slice. The boats are really paddled to be, are designed to be paddled as a pair. The idea being that if you're on something where the kind of conditions where you want to be dipping the tail and whipping it around on the tail of the boat, and you're not too concerned about getting back-ended on stuff, you would take this out. And if you're in just really big, pushy conditions where you just need to be on top of the water all the time, you don't want to get submerged at all, or maybe you're overnighting and you have gear in your boat, then you're going to want to have the SuperSkipper. And the idea is that you have both of these in your quiver, just like a golfer would have several golf clubs, right, in their bag. And you choose the correct tool for the job of the day. So, SuperSkipper, SuperSkip RR, these are going to be in production in January. The molds are already being made. And I am very, 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 very excited.